All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Friday's market wrap up here at Top Gun Options. Matthew Buckley, call sign Whiz, and clock's ticking out, folks. If you want to get a copy, an autographed copy for you, for a friend, for a loved one, head to go.topgunoptions.com/book. And I'll try and brave the U.S. Post Office today. I went yesterday and mailed about 3 books. My God, man. The post office down here in God's waiting room, Boca Raton, was an absolute shit show. It looked like a Civil War hospital. So if you're going to order today, and I'll get it to you by Christmas. We'll even eat the shipping to get it there before Christmas. But you got to order today, okay? Go.topgunoptions.com/book. And remember, folks, time's running out. Calendar's getting closer to, hint, my birthday, New Year's Eve, December 31st. The reduced lifetime memberships are going away, and they go back up to their regular price. And if you act before December 31st for that lifetime membership, we'll even work a deal with you on some coaching down the road. You'll get a reduced coaching rate, discounted rate from us. And welcome aboard, Tavo, and because you just got a lifetime and commanding officers club coaching. This guy's really going full throttle here. And John Nystrom, welcome aboard, my brother. He's out there in Danville, California, another lifetime member. You guys get a free book for being lifetime members. So John, that's going in the mail today. All right. This is comical. Just when you think the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi can't get any more gross or stupid, they do. Even this guy, this so-called constitutional scholar that they brought to testify in front of the House impeachment proceedings, say, hey, Nancy, if you don't walk down the hallway and deliver the articles of impeachment to the Senate, the dude's not impeached. So it's insane what's going on right now. So let me get this straight. Nancy is withholding these articles in order to get something in exchange for them. I seem to remember that's the definition of a quid pro quo, right? I'm not going to give you, like Joe Biden, I'm not going to give you these $1 billion unless you fire that prosecutor looking into my son. Quid pro quo. Nancy, I'm not going to give you these articles of impeachment unless you give me something. Quid pro quo. Donald Trump, we're not going to give you this money unless you look into corruption into the last election and the corruption of Joe Biden, who was the vice president, who most likely broke the law. Oh, my God, how dare you do that? So they can do quid pro quos when it's disgusting, but when Donald Trump rightfully says, I ain't giving you U.S. tax dollars unless I know they're going to be spent well and you are going to fight corruption. It's a disgrace. Nancy Pelosi is a drunk, disgusting mistake and a disgrace. Go look at her district, man. People taking craps on the street, needles everywhere. It's gross. It's a third world country. Donald Trump was right to label certain countries a shithole. Well, certain congressional districts are shitholes, and one of them is Nancy Pelosi's. You're a disgrace, woman. Anyway, pretty funny watching the cover. So this morning, Boeing stock, folks, this is a steal. We're going to talk about this maybe after Christmas. So Boeing's down like about, well, it's only down 1% right now, but a failed, what we call these in aviation or space, folks? It's a successful failure. Right? So the Starliner failed to reach the appropriate orbit. If there were dudes or ladies on board, they probably could have taken over manually and flown. So it's not like the rocket exploded or failed. It was automation, right? And sometimes automation can be too much, and Boeing knows all about automation being too much with the hundreds of people that they killed with the stupid MCAS stuff and shitty pilots. The only 4 people that deserved to die in those crashes were the so-called aviators who sucked. Anyway, so it's funny watching the media coverage of this and calling it a failure. We seem to forget how freaking tough this is, folks. I remember shuttle launches used to be a big deal, and then we stopped, kind of watching shuttle launches, and the same thing with the Apollo mission. We stopped. It started being routine, and then what happened? Apollo 13. Right, those guys, and holy crap, now it was world news. I mean, hell, the Pope, the President, everybody in the world was watching what happened to Apollo 13, and we stopped watching shuttle launches until Challenger, right? It just until we have failures. People just kind of assume this stuff goes off without a hitch. But Boeing stock is a steal at this point. We're going to look at that getting long next week. Quick reminder, next week's schedule. I'm going to do a Monday, December 23rd brief for everybody, all the services, and then take off until Friday and do that. I am going to send out alerts as needed, Christmas Eve, Christmas, or the day after Christmas. Why? Because we got cream of some young guy in North Korea threatening a ballistic missile launch. So the commander-in-chief of the Pacific Air Forces, General Charlie Brown, said, hey, we think we're probably going to see a ballistic missile launch. It's probably going to be heading towards Japan. This is a big deal, folks. What if this is actually, it has a nuke on board? What if you're in Japan? If you're in the northern prefecture or something like that. The last time they did this, man, they went to full nuke alert. That's Japanese people in subways and basements and nuke shelters and thinking they're going to die. This is a big deal. Okay, so I know that we're jumping through our ass trying to make something happen, but Donald Trump doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to be like Bill Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama, or George Bush and kiss this guy's ass and give him a load of money. It's just not going to happen. So we'll see. But folks, the stock market right now is pricing in absolute prosperity and nothing going on in the next 30 days, which is insane. And I'm going to tell you today, this is a little bit of a short squeeze. We leveled off on a ledge here, and now this thing just is getting squeezed higher. I had a couple crappy trades this week, EWZ being one of them I had to manage, and then I got blown out of the top of a S&P 500 iron condor with this pop today. This is insanity. So bad on me this week on a couple. We had a couple good trades: Visa, XRT, and our defense trades and UTX. With a bunch of winning trades this week, but the other ones hurt. I hate losing trades and I hate being wrong. And I was wrong to put a cap on a couple things, whether it was Amazon, the S&P 500, or Brazil. But so got to manage those. I'm going to most likely sit on my hands next week because this is just stupidity. When something's on a tear, you either join it or get out of the way. And at this point, I'm getting out of the way, waiting for this thing to crash because it is going to come back. Don't forget that we got Iran out there, and it might be on their calendar to do something stupid here as we're all kind of celebrating the birth of dear sweet baby Jesus. Another reason we're seeing a little bit of a short squeeze or a pop today is Donald. Here comes Trump with the phone call. Had a very good talk with President Xi of China. Good thing he said of China. I was lost. Concerning our giant trade deal. China has already started large-scale purchases of ag products and more. Formal signing being arranged. Also talked about North Korea, where we are working with China, and Hong Kong. Progress. I think he's lying, which might shock a lot of you. The Chinese have said, why are the Chinese going to buy ag stuff from us when they can get it from Brazil cheaper? So look at what happened at the open here, folks. OPEC sparks panic bid at U.S. Open. Folks, the VIX imploded today. We had a near 11 handle in the VIX. The VIX is stupid cheap right now. It got back up here. We're back above 12, but are you kidding me? Look at this, folks. Absolutely insane with the VIX being this low. This is when you buy the VIX with both hands, folks. I'm telling you, we're going to have a January, February pullback easily. There's not one money manager I talk to that believes they're holding anything into January, right? Usually when everybody believes something, the market tends to do it. If you want to be that dude that says, well, I'm going to go counter to what everybody's going to do in January, you might be right, and then you might be broke. That's not going to happen. Final Q3 GDP revision unchanged, 2.1%. All growth comes from who? The consumer. How about all the idiots on the stage last night, all the Democrats? What are you going to do to make this economy better? There's not one person on that stage last night that can say anything smart to make things better. We are hitting on all cylinders. Jobs, GDP, earnings aren't half that bad. The president is knocking out the USMCA and maybe a phase one trade deal. What are you going to do, Democrats? Well, we're going to give free health care to 11 million illegal immigrants. Oh, that makes sense. Joe, why don't you drop them right in front of guys like me who can't get seen at the VA? That's fantastic. What else can you do? We're going to give free college to everybody. Last time I checked. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, the government, let me remind you, the government doesn't have one penny Think about this. The government doesn't have money. It's a referee of money. It takes from one and gives to another. It doesn't have its own money unless you're the Federal Reserve, obviously, and then you just print your own. I'm talking about whenever somebody says something's free. That's false. All they're doing is transferring from one folks to another. It was I laughed seeing Elizabeth Warren rip apart, seeing Pete Buttigieg there. She ripped him apart for having a fundraiser with billionaires in a wine cave. Seriously? So now this war on wealth is going to blow up in your face. You know what billionaires do? First of all, they got legions of tax attorneys and CPAs and shelter. You ain't going to get them, folks. And then what's going to happen if you keep going down this stupid road, Elizabeth, is the billionaires leave. Do you think they're going to stay? This is what happened in France when Macron did that. They were like going to, what was it, a 75 or almost 100% tax on the uber wealthy? They left France. Then what happens? So she's standing there with her $50 trillion, Medicare for all plan, and all the billionaires are gone. Guess who they turn to? You. And I'm not shitting you, folks. If this is the way it's going to go, I have no problems pulling up chalks, going to Spain or going to the Caymans, and you can have my passport, man. And when you lose a guy like me who spent 15 years of his life serving this country, I buried about 13 of my very good friends. When you lose people like me, this republic's in danger. When you got assholes like the governor of Virginia in his blackface and his abortion up to the moment of birth, threatening to mobilize the National Guard to seize legally owned weapons, you're losing me, folks. And when you got a absolute partisan impeachment process, we're getting ready for a second Revolutionary War, folks. I have no problem putting Nancy and the governor of Virginia back on a boat to England. You guys go live in Great Britain. I'm telling you, man, there's 300 million gun owners in the United States, plus the National Guard. I know nobody wearing a uniform in the National Guard who would actually follow that order, and as a matter of fact, would probably turn on the people that gave those orders. I can't even believe we're having this conversation. But anyway, stocks are at new highs as the country barrels towards Civil War II. So it's interesting that the president kind of gave this everything's great tweet and phase one and all sorts of stuff. But look at this. The ministry is still kind of, not giving numbers. Okay, so it's interesting. But if we get a phase one deal, a ceremony, and it's signed and stuff like that, I could be wrong. And if we do have that, we are going to keep this January rally going, man. But remember, February and October are the 2 most volatile months in the stock market. Okay, so remember, the time the volatility is when it's extremely low, and it's extremely. This week we laughed at this Wall Street Journal article: options traders eye insurance even as stocks soar. That's the exact time you want to get some insurance on. I'd be stocking up on S&P 500 puts out to February or January, and I'd be getting long volatility into January, man, just as a hedge. This isn't just a cheesy sign-off line. Happy hunting, meaning go out there, do some good hunting in the market here, but make sure you're hedged. Have your ejection seat on. Final call for the greatest book I've ever written. Go to topgunoptions.com/book, and we'll get it in the mail today. Okay, I got to get going. I'm taking my nerds at 2:45 to Star Wars. I don't want to go. After, what's her name, Ray, the lead actress, Ray, or whatever her real name is in real life, said anybody who supports Trump has mental problems. So my two boys are like, Dad, you still going to go? I'm like, we bought the tickets. I'm not going to, I'm going to go, but I hear it's like anti-Trump, and it's like a United Colors of Benetton movie, and I'm probably going to be yelling. I'm that guy that kind of yells at the movie screen when it's liberals and shit like that. Don't want to go, but my nerds bought the tickets like 6 months ago when you could buy them early. So I'm gonna go watch. I'll give you the debrief with my Monday market outlook. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. God bless. Make sure you hedge, and I'll see you for Monday's market outlook.